Hello, Leo, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. Welcome to your tarot reading here at the Intuitive Teacup. Please come into this reading with an open heart and an open mind, a desire to learn something or better yourself. If the messages that come through don't resonate for you, that's completely fine. Feel free to push them aside. You may want to revisit them at a later date. Sometimes tarot messages make more sense in the future, so just be open to that. Keep that in mind. You are accountable and responsible for all your own actions and decisions. This is, of course, optional advice, guidance, and energy check-in. That being said, let's set the intention to get you some helpful, insightful messages with clarity, and we'll try and have some fun doing it. Let's see. 2 more cards for Leo, and we'll hop in here for Leo. All right, let's do it. Oh, we had to end it with the 10 of Swords. Bottom of the deck is the 2 of Pentacles. So 2s typically talk about options, choices, decisions. Sometimes it's the need to move forward with something because we're just stuck in this infinity loop of thinking about something and not doing it or building it or taking the action. So we'll see how that factors in. Sometimes the 2 of Pentacles is just about giving yourself the luxury of time. If you feel like you're on a really intense timeline and things have to be done in a certain way or, again, a certain time limitation, sometimes it's about sort of busting out of that mindset and doing things the right way, the proper way, even if it means you have to spend more time on it. I have a feeling that's the message there, but let's look into these cards a little bit deeper. So the first message I see here is hearing from a Virgo or possibly an air sign, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. And something about that is in alignment with your wish fulfillment. So I don't know if it's someone you're hoping is going to ask you out, or it could even be word back from some sort of boss or positive news on a contract. It could even have to do with hearing positive results on a test or a quiz or something educational, a course. If you've applied to something, there's very likely going to be good news there. So you may get a job interview out of an application, or a second round interview, a third round interview. For some of you, it's possible you might get the job. But I do think this has to do with like a period of wait, and with Virgo energy, sort of like the creeping fear of anxiety starting to trickle in, because there's a lot on the line. Whatever you're hoping for, it means a lot to you. And so if you are in that stage of not hearing back, or in that waiting and wishing phase, do your best to try and project good energy into it, versus worrying and kind of manifesting, negative results or poor results or rejection, whatever. Really try and put your mind, or, set your mind frame to be that, you will hear back when it's time, and everything is fine. Everything is going to fall into place. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. You've done everything correct. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, kind of flip the script to make sure that you're manifesting with positivity, not like the fear of what could be. I think that's important. But yeah, like something to do with travel too. Something about this opportunity I'm hearing the word inspire, a unplanned or unforeseen trip, but I think it's something that you would enjoy. For some of you, it has to do with training. Like, in order to bring you on board to this job, they have to send you to like, I don't know, some location to do, like, I don't know if it's corporate training. For others of you, it could be that someone asks you out, and it's almost like within the first few weeks, they're like, hey, do you want to like hop on a plane and go to Florida? Or that was just a random state I chose, right? But there's something where you're like, oh my gosh, and all of a sudden we're in an airplane. I see air travel in your future for some of you. And, it's possible some of you are going to work in a job where there is quite a lot of air travel. So just keep that in mind. Let's see, what else can I tell you? So let's go to the middle here. Page of Swords. And I will just say about this last connection with whoever or whatever this is, if it feels like you were kept waiting a long time, but it was well worth it, because when the message comes through, it's exceedingly positive, and there's utter clarity with the King of Swords. Like, you know exactly where you stand. There isn't this maybe, sort of, kind of, we don't know. It's like, it just feels like you're welcome with open arms, and metaphorically, it's like they already have the office with your name on the door. It's like things are set in place, and there is no weird, awkward in-between stage. It just feels very like it was meant to be. It was written in the stars. Like, I really like that message, Leo, whatever it is, or whoever it is. My money's on a Virgo, or maybe an Aquarius. Let's see. So then, middle story here. Page of Swords to the Queen of Wands. I feel like someone needs to have a conversation with you, but they're very intimidated by you and they don't know how to approach you. For some of you, this is your child. It's like they need to tell you something, but they are worried about the repercussions or that you're going to be mad or vice versa. And do remember the messages sometimes go in reverse. So it could be that you need to approach a parental figure about something, even if you are a full-fledged adult, right? Likely you are if you're watching this. There may be a conversation between child and parent about something that is a touchy subject. Yeah, because in the past they've tried to for most of you, it feels like either a child needs to speak to you or someone who you are the superior of. So it could be an employee or a coworker, but at least the way they view you is that you have more of a pull or more of a say. You hold more power than they do, at least in this dynamic or this topic, this conversation. And so it's almost like the power to change it or solve it maybe rests with you. Someone just needs to come clean and admit something to you as well. And I feel like they've sort of danced around it. They've tried to get a pulse on how you're going to react. And in the past, you may have shut them down entirely, like, no, we're not going to talk about that, or I don't know, blah, blah, blah. For some of you, this person may actually be worried about your health, and they're encouraging you to seek treatment or go to a doctor or try some medication. And you seem to be very stubborn to do that. Others of you, this is such a specific and random thing. I feel like someone wants you to go see a spiritual healer, like Reiki or, tarot cards or a psychic or something, possibly to communicate with, like, I'm sort of getting the idea that someone thinks like there's a ghost in our house and we have to figure out what's going on. Or it could even be to get in touch with a relative who has left this earth, right? They're more of a spirit now. It could be a child who it's like they want to get in touch with grandma. I know that is a very, very specific message and that's not for all of you, but I'm just putting it out there. I see something, it's like a sensitive issue. It's like someone feels like they have to walk on eggshells around you or dance around it, but it's something they really, really want to do. And I'm not sure what your aversion to it is, but I do think that's a conversation that isn't going to go away. This person is going to keep addressing it. It could also be a child who's having nightmares, in which case, it might not be like this terribly intimidating thing for you. You just might not know what to do. So in which case you may have to do some research or talk to a doctor or talk to a psych counselor or something like that of the sort. For some of you, it's like your child is having a repeated issue of, I don't know if it's bullying. I don't know if it could even be something more personal, like bedwetting or something like that, where it's very uncomfortable for them to approach you, but they do feel like they need help. So don't reject them. Do your best to really listen to them and hear them out, because there might be a key piece of information that you're overlooking or not hearing. But I don't know, whoever this is, they're presenting as the wounded warrior. So like there's ultra sensitivity here. Metaphorically just feeling beat up and feeling like they have no outlet or no options to find some sort of healing. Or I will say too, with the star card, it's very Aquarian energy, feeling like a weirdo, feeling like an outsider, feeling like they have no place in the world, feeling like no one's on their team, like they have no friends. Again, very isolated type stuff. So maybe it's a coworker who just doesn't feel like they're part of the team and they've come to you before. And I hate to say it, Leo, like I'm obviously, team Leo here, but for most of you, I'm getting this idea that you dismissed them and didn't really hear them out. So yeah, that might be something that comes up again. And I will say handle with care. And if it goes the opposite way, if this is you and you're the quote unquote wounded person who needs to speak with a superior, a parent, or whatever about something, it's sort of like I'm wanting to give the metaphor of like do unto others, treat others as you want to be treated. And maybe if you are in the power position here, to flip the script and imagine yourself having to address someone that you're a little bit fearful of or intimidated by, that may help you kind of settle into a new energy as this person approaches you. For some of you, this could be a spouse too. Again, it's like the way it's shown here, there's a very different power dynamic. So even if it is two people in a romantic relationship, this person feels like they tripped up or they screwed up and they're coming to you for support or sympathy or help. But I think they're worried that you're going to dismiss them or reject them or leave them. For a very, very, very select few of you, it could have to do with infidelity. I don't think that's the main story here, but I will say if it is, they are very sorry. Like they are not going to do it again because it's like they put this entire relationship in jeopardy and they know it, and they're coming like between with their tail between their legs, just like I screwed up so badly. And I don't necessarily know if I'm predicting that. For if that's the case, I think most of you already kind of know about it. In which case, they may reach out again. And, it's up to you how you want to handle that. Like, there's many different layers and levels to this, right? It's not always this easy, embrace them and let them back in. It's all fine. For some of you, I don't see you even acknowledging it because you've already moved on. Romantically, you may have already connected with a Virgo. Aquarius may factor into this somehow. You may have already connected with someone else who you're very content and happy with. And so it could be that an ex reaches back out with like an apology or tail between the legs wanting to come back and be like, remember me, I'm so sorry and I miss you. There's definitely an element of that. And so it depends what the scenario is. If it truly is a child, then I would say, this person is helpless. Like they need help. They're very innocent. They're naive. They don't know their way around in the world, right? So they need some support. They need some guidance. They need someone to love them. If this is a full-fledged adult, I would say they're still acting in a way that is extremely childish, but they may be acting out of all that they know based on the upbringing or lack thereof that they sort of had their foundation or establishment with. So meaning that maybe they didn't have parents that loved them or cared about them or taught them about, how to love another person. They probably don't even know how to love themselves. So that's what I mean. Like I do have a tiny bit of sympathy for this person just because I can tell like they really are messed up. Like they really are sad. They really are lonely. I don't think it's just like a flavor of the week, flavor of the month, hit it and quit it energy. I really, really don't get that vibe. But again, it's up to you if you want to consider them or take them back, depending on who this is in your life. But there is some scenario where someone is knocking on your door like, hey, can we talk? That's what I would title this reading. And so some of you may be thrilled to hear that. Maybe you have someone coming back in with an apology that was, I will say, maybe long overdue. So it's not that you won't receive the apology, but it's almost too little too late. For some of you, it's like, thanks, I appreciate it, but like, good luck with your life. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? So for some of you, it's just practicing healthier boundaries. So anyway, moving on, let's talk about money here. Queen of Discs. So Queen of Pentacles. Yeah, new contract with money. That ends rather quickly. Okay, so it could be a one and done. For those who are independent contractors, entrepreneurs, or do something that's very like one deal at a time, if that makes sense, you could have a very, very lucrative deal or lucrative project come along. And I'm sort of getting the idea of like, you love the taste of it. Like it's almost like energetically you caught feelings for that type of gig or that type of client or that type of deal, that high amount of money, that dollar sign or whatever. And you're like, oh my gosh, like this just opened my world up to how much money I could be making. And so I think you're going to reestablish, I don't know if it has to do with marketing or websites or repricing. I don't know what it is. You get yourself into I think it's just a short-term contract. There's like a fixed start and end date, maybe it's a temp role, but it opens up your world to more money. That's what I'm getting. Unfortunately, it has a very strict end date and there isn't necessarily the potential for you to join them long term. It could just be like if you're an artist or a musician, it could be like a gig that it pays incredibly well. You have a huge audience, you're selling more tickets, whatever. This is meant to be, and it shows you that this is a stepping stone to something greater. So rather than being upset that, it came and went so fast, I think it's about gratitude and appreciation and really opening your mind up, changing your mindset to be more, what is a good word? Strategic in how you price yourself or what deals you engage with, what you go after in terms of your clients or the group, the market, whatever, because you may change your strategy. With the King of Swords, strategy is a very important message here. There's other sources of income. I'm sort of getting the idea of money as like a currency, like a flow. There's like an energy where it almost feels like you've tapped out one resource, like you've gone to the same well over and over and over, and like the market just isn't there. It's not fresh. It's been used too much. Whatever this is, it opens you up to kind of this new channel. But because you're new to it, you don't necessarily have all the connections to keep returning to it. But know that that isn't itself a connection. You started the network. We just have to branch it out a little bit more. This is a very positive thing. It's almost like a light bulb moment of, oh, I didn't consider doing this. And now that I know that there's money to be made there, I have to figure out how to make this, more permanent or create something of my own that mimics that. I hope that makes sense. But it's like you get the taste of it. Now that you have the smell, like you can't take your mind off of it because you know that there's potential there. Let's see. So there, in terms of love, romance, we're still on the topic of money. I think I just want to reiterate that there could be a very good opportunity for money. We already talked about that. There could also be a collaboration with a fellow fire sign, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, that is like a long-term wish or dream. You may actually just virtually like reach out to a mentor or a leader or someone in your field who's widely respected, even if it's just for you on a personal level. Maybe they're not a celebrity, but it's someone like you've looked up their Instagram and you're like, wow, like I love how they're doing this. And I just get this sort of like rolling the dice idea of like, I'm going to reach out to them. I'm going to see if they want to collaborate, or I'm going to ask them advice. I'm going to see if they want to bring me on board for a writing project or whatever. A lot of you, it's like you roll the dice and reach out to someone who you highly respect, and you get very, I'll say, warm feedback. So maybe they haven't locked down the exact date, or maybe they send you a reply that's like, thanks so much for reaching out. I don't have room right now, but I'll keep you in mind. That in itself is a win because that is going to open up in the future. Others of you, there will be more of immediacy of like, yeah, great. Next month I'm doing a presentation on this, or, I'm giving a lecture here. Why don't you come and we can talk afterwards? Something is set in place with a person who's high up on the ladder, however that resonates or translates for you, Leo, that could be very beneficial to you, possibly lucrative. But it ups your value, at least in terms of how you see yourself, how you see your business, how your operation, how you run your business. Even if you work for a corporation, there's something specific about it to you where you're like, it helps your confidence is what I'm trying to say. You're like, yeah, that's badass. Like I reached out myself, I made this connection, and now this is happening. Like it's really good. It's like you manifested very quickly. All right. So, money opportunities look good. Again, expect some peaks and valleys. It's not that it all comes rushing in at once, but there's spurts of it that feel very nice and very good and very lucrative. In terms of dating and romance, I think we already covered that a little bit. I'm liking the thing with maybe the Virgo or the air sign. There's definitely probably for a majority of you an ex who comes back who maybe wasn't the most faithful or had a secret that they tell you. That could also be an Aquarius, Sagittarius, Gemini. There's probably multiple signs coming through here. And then for some of you, there may be you may be in a relationship with someone who isn't doing too well. And I don't like to predict scary things. That's never my intention. I think you would already know this by now, but you may be with someone who's going through like a bit of a health battle or a health struggle, particularly mental health, or anxiety disorder, or I don't know, someone who may be suffering from like panic attacks. It could also be a child, right? But for most of you, I'm kind of seeing the idea of like marriage here. And it like more or less you end up kind of having to be almost in a parental role to this person because they need someone to take care of them. It's a tricky message. I'm not really sure what to do with it other than I think the universe is recognizing that you've really had to take one for the team, that you are very committed to this person, and more or less with this Taurian energy, I'm sort of getting the idea of acting as like a healer, more or less. So some of you may actually fully dive into that and explore the idea of more homeopathic, holistic healing. Others of you, I know this is a bit of a leap. It sounds like a story or like a movie or something, but it's like because of you had to care for someone in your life so with such dedication, you may end up choosing to change careers and become like a nurse or like a home care specialist because something about that role you fit into very nicely. It came very natural to you. And because, you did it for free for someone you love, you're like, hey, maybe this is my new calling. Maybe I'm going to go in a completely different direction. So that kind of ends up being a bit of a career message. Or again, it might be more holistic. Some of you may be studying like Reiki or crystal healing or something of the sort. something with water in particular. So I don't know if it's like sound baths or healing by water. I'm not sure what that would be exactly, but I'm just putting it out there. So in terms of, I hate to be so negative, relationships that are causing some strife and uneasy energy right now, I see Libra and Capricorn. That doesn't mean forever, but there's definitely some heavy narratives and storylines tied to it. Some of you may end up breaking it off with a Libra, but they seem to be very upset and shocked by this. They didn't see it coming, or they're in disbelief because they want to make it work with you. They also may have very strong Leo in their chart, so that could be like I don't know, something with like Libra, Leo placements, Sun, Moon. I don't know what that is. But yeah, it's almost like I'm sort of getting they don't handle it in a mature way. Like, even if you're like, hey, like, this isn't working, I think we need to talk about it, or I want to break up. It's almost like they do earmuffs. So they're like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. And they walk out of the room. So that's not great. The thing is, I think you're the one to initiate that, because I don't know, the Libra right now just seems very like shocked and taken aback by it. The Capricorn seems kind of indifferent. Like, I think they like you and would like to make it work. But I also think that they feel like if you rejected them, they're not going to fight for it because they took it very personally. And so they're a little bit resentful and spiteful there. They also kind of have some connection to a Pisces. So even if they haven't acted on it, it's almost like they have someone in their back pocket, like a fallback. I have to be honest, kind of like rebounding energy. Like, so if you guys are exclusively dating and you break up with the Capricorn, like, they're going to jump into bed with someone else very soon. That could also be you, Leo. It could be that if you're with someone and it's just kind of like this whatever relationship, you know, and more power to you to get out of a relationship that you're not happy in. But I just sense that there's more of a long-term, or I don't know, it just feels more exclusive than the Libra thing. Seems like casual dating. I don't know. The thing with the Capricorn is complicated, but I also think that there's like a Pisces or an Aquarius or someone else is involved, maybe an earth sign that's like a plan B or like a side piece or like a fallback. Again, like rebounding energy, something about that with the Capricorn. So that's what I mean. Like those two messages, there's something about the Ten of Swords with it, which means it's not the most gratifying, uplifting, rewarding relationship right now. It's very complicated. There's a lot of kind of maybe head games or things going back and forth that there just isn't clarity, or the clarity that's there is that it feels like you got stabbed in the back, or vice versa. This person is very wounded by what happened. So I can't end you on that note. That would be too depressing. Pay attention to your kids. Your kids are trying to tell you, for those who have kids, your kids are trying to tell you something, and they're very scared too. That message is here very clearly to me. All right, so then you have the Queen of Swords. Taking care of your body, exercising, changing up your health routine might be very beneficial to you in Scorpio season and the world. So some of you may hit some sort of important goal in terms of like your physical body. I don't know if it has to do with your weight or reaching some sort of like muscle mass, or I don't know, it could even be competing in some sort of event like a race or something where some of you may actually win. I'm sort of getting the idea of the like the gold medal that they put around your neck or whatever. Something to do with physical training or athletic training, or joining a class, or getting some sort of recognition for something that's done with the physical body. I don't know exactly what that is, but for those of you who it's for, you'll probably know. So keep going down that path because it seems rewarding and successful and optimizing your health, which is great. And that may have to do with an Aquarius or a Capricorn as well. All right, that's what I got for you. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, and I will see you very soon for more tarot. Bye.